Hello everybody, this is Spirelli and welcome back to Astrologaster, where this lady, right, is off balance and needs to bleed a bit because her husband is a strong drinker. Mayhap pleading my husband should cure him of his taste for strong drink. Very vigorous pleading. I would recommend that. Oh, mail. Sir, I thank you for your recent inquiry with regards to obtaining a license to practice medicine. And that from my records that you terminated your enrollment at our institution some years ago on the ground of insufficient funds. Whilst we do not ordinarily issue a medical license to men who have not first completed a medical degree, I would hope so, proof of equivalent professional experience in the form of letters of recommendation may be taken into consideration. A minimum of 8 such letters of recommendation is customarily required. I advise you to write to us again once you have attained the requisite number of letters. So if you're rich, you can just get 8 people to write your letters and then you got a medical, okay.
What is their relation? We are no longer sure. Seems 4 months now the patient, and Avis is the cure.
Ah, my dear Avis, what a pleasure it is to see you. I have oft thought of our last...
I cannot tarry long. My husband will be expecting me home.
Of course. But, dear lady, is something the matter?
Of course. Do not all your querents come with a matter they wish an answer to?
Well, yes, but...
I wish to ask of the stars whether a man I am close with, a man who is not my husband, whether that man be also close with another woman.
A man you are... I see. Well, if I am to judge the stars for you, I must ask you to be more precise.
Yes, please.
In what sense do you mean close? The platonic bond of friendship?
Nay, close in the sense of being intimate.
I see. Then 'tis the familial tie of kinship, perchance.
Nay, I mean someone with whom I have shared physical relations.
Verily, madam.
She's sleeping
if I
with
am to
someone
give you
else
an
as well.
accurate reading, you must state your question clearly.
Methinks you know full well what I ask. I bid you ask the stars whether my lover is, that is to say, be it true that he engages with another woman in acts of strumpy-humpy.
Madam, you astonish me. 'Tis unlike you to speak such indelicate words. Now, if I understand you correctly, you have a lover, and you wish to know whether he has been sharing his tender favours with another woman.
Aye, but did I not verily say so?
And now that we have at last fathomed your question, let us read the stars to fathom an answer. Has Mistress Allen's lover been unfaithful to her?
Are we still talking about myself, is the question here. Oopsie, I just had a rather long interruption after someone rang the doorbell, but I am back and I have no idea what happened. Right, she has a lover that's not me. How dare she? The stars will not look well. That is my lover engaged in intimacies with another woman. Mistress Allen's lover is seeing a woman who is willing and able to marry him. He wishes to continue his family line. Mistress Allen no longer pleases her lover. The spark has been lost. This represents a woman who is unable to please Avis. Mistress Allen's lover wishes to father a child. This represents masculinity. Or Mistress Allen's mind has been turned by jealousy and confusion. She should be more optimistic about her romance with this man. This consultation will provoke unexpected intimacies between me and Avis. Sure. The lover will not leave you.
These stars are most clear, madam. Your lover has not been coupling with another woman.
He has not.
Forsooth, the stars say that your mind has been turned by jealousy and confusion. Now, if there is nothing further, madam...
Oh, how relieved I am to hear you say this. Oh, Simon, what a fool I have been not to trust you.
But you... this lover... 'twas me all along? You were not speaking of some other man?
I beseech you, pardon me, Simon. I had to know the truth from the stars, for I did hear tell of other women.
But how could you not see? No other woman is to me so dear, and verily is it not clear to you that
Aww.
Do you verily, Simon?
Oh, my dear, sweet Avis.
It is him. How cute. The Crown did wish to know whether her lover is engaged in intimacies with another woman. I did advise the Crown that her lover remained loyal to her. The Crown revealed that I was the lover she was referring to. This caused confusion, though was quickly resolved. Methinks the Crown is most pleased with me for the reading I gave today. Coitus post consultatio. You don't always need to write that down. Just saying, like, we don't need that detail. We've received a letter of recommendation. Letter of recommendation received will return. Verily, I was very wrong of me to doubt him so.
Always has what's new. Far ahead of friends. She oft gets her hands on goods from foreign lands. That Captain PohTahToes sends.
Is that a monkey in her arm? Is that? I want to
Good
see
morrow,
that.
madam. I humbly welcome you to my consulting chambers, and thank you for choosing my practice. Mistress...
Fortescue, Mistress Sybil Fortescue.
Well then, Mistress Fortescue, what may I assist you with this day?
I come upon a most troubling matter, sir. I know not whether it is a medical matter or something else.
I see. Pray describe your trouble to me, madam.
Well, I suppose it all began with a dinner I hosted at my house last
It always
even.
begins with dinner.
Mayhap you have heard of my dinners, Dr. Forman. They are much talked about. Though I fear last evening's dinner will be talked about for all the wrong reasons.
Talked about, you say?
Yes, indeed, invitations to my dinners are much sought after, for I host the most desirable of guests.
Am I one of
Lords,
those?
Bishops, poets, explorers, painters, and the like. Why, last eve I hosted the famous Robert Lord Devereux, the playwright William Shakespeare, and the Bishop of London and his wife. As well as fascinating conversation, at my table I served the very latest and most original dishes. Last even, I served an exotic green vegetable called a PohTahToes. So crisp and refreshing.
It's not supposed
My
to be
dear
green.
husband sent them home to me from the New World. Doubtless you have heard of my husband, Captain Fortescue. He is a great friend of Sir Walter Raleigh.
I see. Your dinners do sound most excellent, Mistress Fortescue. But what occurred at last eve's dinner that has you so distressed?
Well, in truth, 'twas after dinner. We all felt a strong desire to take some air, and so we left the table to take a turn in some pleasure gardens nearby. But then, as we were walking along the path, right in the middle of the gardens,
What?
in full public view,
No.
Pray do not distress yourself, madam. Prithee, take your time.
my guests and I were, all of a sudden, stricken with pain. We began chundering and voiding from our... But there was nowhere to turn, you see. There were no bushes close by to shield our modesty. 'Twas unspeakable.
A moment, madam, as I note this down. Abdominal pain and simultaneous upward and downward purging of a most sudden and violent nature. Now, let us see how these stars explain this most distressing and unsavoury event. What troubled Mistress Sybil Fortescue and her guests last eve?
Okay, a medical question. I do feel like she just came to a bit show off her dinner, but maybe she just likes talking about that. My guests and I were stricken last eve with abdominal pain, chundering and voiding from the fundament. What ailed us? Some of our guests were taught with evil digestion, says the illness is temporary. Sybil Fortescue has taken a chilly cold. Mr. Fortescue's trouble is wandering hands. No. That was your digestion. Isn't that clear? And you get rid of it in every hole possible.
Madam, I think you said the New World vegetables you dined upon were green in colour, did you not? And you described them as crisp and refreshing, I think. I take it then that you served them to your guests green and raw?
Yes, indeed. Most of the PohTahToes my husband sent me were full, dull, and unhealthsome in appearance. Hence I served only the green ones. I had my cook cut them in such a way as to resemble roses. 'Tis the way I oft serve my apples.
Ah, then your trouble was a severe case of evil digestion. I have read that these vegetables can be noxious if they turn green.
Oh, my days! Do you mean I poisoned my guests?
In a manner of speaking, aye. But worry not, madam, for the suffering was but temporary. Indeed, it does sound as if the bodies of your guests were most comprehensively purged of the poison. However, in future, be sure to cook the PohTahToes until they are soft, and pray do not eat the ones that have turned green.
As God shall mend me, what a shameful affair this has been. I shall go home and, well, I shall write to my husband and ask that he includes cooking instructions with the next gift of food that he sends me. I thank ye and bid ye good day, Dr. Forman.
You're most welcome. But yes, that makes sense that they wouldn't know how to eat a potato if they've never had one before. When did the potato come into being food in these kind of places? The query did present with symptoms of both upward and downward involuntary purging, abdominal pain, and fever. I did diagnose evil digestion provoked by the consumption of raw green potatoes. Methinks the query is most pleased with me for the reading I gave today. Oh, she's very pleased already. What a fine-looking young man Dr. Forman has for a manservant. Why does everybody say that?
Here comes a literary mind, one such as we do rarely find. Just needs a man to be behind, for she's but a lady.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Here comes a lady and all she needs is a man.
Good evening, Miss Lanier. What brings you?
I am come about my future, Dr. Forman. I wish to know whether I will find success as a writer of poems and plays. You can predict futures, can you not?
You, madam? A writer of poems?
I
and
can do
of
anything.
Plays? Forsooth, how verily remarkable.
Well, 'tis true most of us Basanos and Laniers are musicians, but I have chosen a different path. I've lately begun a collaboration with a poet and playwright, let us call him Mr. S. He is presently writing a play that takes place in northern Italy, and as I am of Italian heritage, he has asked me to help him write it.
How interesting. And does this collaboration betwixt you go well?
Right well, or so methinks. Indeed, Mr. S did suggest that I am full talented as a writer. Be not afraid of greatness, he told me. For once our play opens upon the London stage, our success will follow, as night follows day.
I see. Then what would you have me ask the stars, madam?
Well, I've noted that Mr. S, although a brilliant man, is oft prone to exaggerated melodrama and implausible plot resolutions. I wish to know whether this story of his, of our future success, is true.
Very wise of you, madam. Then let us see whether your success or failure is writ in the stars. Will Mistress Amelia Lanier find fame and fortune as a writer?
Well, I don't know about you, but I can tell you how famous Mr. S will be. Will I be a successful writer? And if you write for him, your work will continue on, just not your name. If Mistress Lanier maintains optimism, her ambitions will be realized. Not only will she be successful, her work will lead to transformative and surprising political changes. Oh wow. So, and her writing part worked well together. Or, slighted Mistress Lanier to be more sensitive to the needs of her child. Or, this speaks of Mr. S indulging creative theft. Tells one of a legacy marred by deceit and jealousy. Well, I think I'll have to go with that one, if I know correctly.
Madam, the stars tell of a great deceit against you. They suggest that your collaboration with Mr. S puts you at risk of let me see here, creative domination and theft. The result being that you will reap little from your collaboration with Mr. S, but feelings of bitterness and jealousy.
I cannot believe this of Mr. S. He is a right honourable man. I cannot believe such compelling insights into the human condition could be writ by such a knave as you describe. To be sure, he does oft indulge in wordplay for its own sake, thus cheapening and unnecessarily prolonging a scene. But nay, he is not a bad man. I know you mean well, Dr. Forman, but I believe your judgment of the stars must be wrong on this occasion.
I didn't consider that she might not be able to accept the statement. I did not consider that. The Quern did wish to know whether her activities as a writer would bring her success. I did warn the Quern that her collaboration with Mr. S was based on deceit and would not end well for her. Methinks the Quern took my advice a little ill. What if the writer be a knave? Would prose writ by a scoundrel sound as sweet? Is it quite a more conundrum? Well, yeah. I guess I have...
Mistress Davis Allen, love of Forman's life, how futile 'tis to fall for another man's wife.
I was going to say, and I shouldn't have flipped the page yet, I need to take into account that people might not be able to believe things I tell them, because for them it's a very different than for me, looking like back.
Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you, madam. What service may I perform for you this day?
For me? None. None at all.
Verily. Then I cannot fathom why you...
'Twas my husband who bade me come, for he finds it difficult to speak of... As I say, he had me come in his stead, and I could think of no reason to give him for why I should not come.
I see. Then what is troubling your husband? Madam, I cannot treat a querent without knowing first what his troubles are.
He is unable to perform his marital duties.
I see. And whatever does that mean?
I know what it
Your
means.
husband forgets to put out the night soil? Some broken shelving he's neglected to fix?
Oh.
Prithee, madam, I bid you be more precise.
Oh, you know perfectly well what I mean, Simon. I bid you not drag this out any longer. Pray read the stars and let us get this over with.
As you wish, madam. Now, let us see. What ails Mr. Allen so as to render him unable to perform his marital obligations towards Mistress Allen?
Is all in the stars. My husband is unable to rise to the occasion when performing his marital duties. What ails him? Suffers from a loss of carnal lust, deficiency of blood. It almost gets worse before it gets better. And there's a mild enchantment cast by a witch. Ooh. Mr. Allen suffers from cold in the heart, with long-lasting disturbance of the mind. There's a mild imbalance of black bile in the body. Or Mr. Allen suffers from a crick in the back. It's causing him pain in the hips, making it difficult to perform duties around the house. Illness is temporary. But wouldn't she have mentioned that if he had some problem? It will get worse, but then it will get better. I think that's something that they'd want to hear, right?
Your husband is suffering from a lack of sanguinity in the brain, which has resulted in a loss of carnal lust. According to my chart, there is little hope of remedy.
Verily, no hope at all.
Nay, I'm afeard not.
What?
Oh, then Mr. Allen is not, cannot be a full husband to me. At least not in the full, true sense of being a husband.
It's not what I wanted to
Precisely
say.
so. And as a physician, it behoves me to observe how unnatural and lamentable it is that a wife be so neglected.
Oh, Simon.
Oh, my darling Avis.
This is not because it said it will get worse before it gets better, which implied that it will get better. So that's what I wanted to say, is like, it'll not, eventually you'll get better. But instead it's just like, oh, well, I guess He's not your husband anymore, not fully, so you can feel better about being with me. Are we ready to read about some coitus? The query did come on behalf of her husband, who it would appear to suffer from dysfunction of the privy member. I judged Mr. Allen is suffering from a loss of carnal lust, and that it could not be remedied. This, I must own, was not entirely true. Methinks the quern is most pleased with me for the reading I gave today. Coitus post consultatio. Shall say 100 Hail Marys before bed this evening. Nay, 200. Shoot, that'll help.
Was doctors against him do make war? Doctors against him do make war. He makes love without a care. 'Tis true, Avis is not his my lord. Part in love, and war is fair. Part in love and war is fair.
I just love it. I just love it. I don't know. I didn't mean to, but of course I am the perfect lover.
Last even, 'twas like a dream. Never in my life have I felt so. Oh, my sweet Avis, 'tis true you are married, but surely a love as great as ours can transcend such earthly impediments. Dare I hope for... Nay, 'tis most unlikely. Or is it? Forsooth, there be no harm in asking the stars. Might Avis Allen one day be mine?
Well, let's find out. It is whatever I make the stars to be. Will Avis and I ever be wed? Avis Allen's loyalty lie with her family. Or I may be optimistic, for Mr. Allen will suffer ill luck and die. Avis will then be free to marry me. And Avis has betrayed her marriage vows. The marriage this has wrought upon her marriage cannot be undone, and her past cannot be erased. Or I'm not seeing things clearly. If I knew the truth about a relationship, I would presently be seething with jealousy. Avis is cunningly hiding a secret from me. Oh, shall we go with that? Should we go for some... Yeah, let's go for some drama.
What is this? Avis harbors a secret from me?
That's what the stars are
Something that
saying.
might arouse my jealous passions. Doubtless 'tis another man. But who could he be? Her carnal desire for him must be powerful indeed to draw her thoughts away from me, and I do not think Avis has occasion to meet any man so becoming as to provoke... Ah, I see.
Yes? Will Avis and I ever be wed? I judge that Avis harbours lustful passions for another man, and methinks I know who this man might be. How very dear the both of them.
Almighty God, lead thy servant forth, take us away from sin and temptation, lest his wife does him an evil.
Okay.
Good day, Dean Blogg. Fare you well?
Most well indeed, and I will tell you why. The conquering cherub has lately returned home to England.
Ah, this being the voyage you did invest in.
Aye, and what a sound investment it was, for it has paid off most handsomely.
Do I get
the
my
cherub's
share?
cargo of nutmeg and pepper will fetch a high price indeed. In sooth, as I recall, it was you who advised me on this investment, was it not? I thank ye heartily for it, sir.
I am glad to have been of service, Dean Blogg.
Forsooth, my earnings have enabled me to make a substantial investment in Sir Walter Raleigh's expedition to the New World.
Ah, methinks I've heard of this. 'Tis a quest to find the fabled lost city of gold, is it not? Or as the Spanish call it, El
Dorado.
Dorado?
The very same. For it is said that El Dorado does lie deep within the rainforests of the southern parts of the New World, hiding vast quantities of gold and precious gems. Hence, what I would have you tell me is, exactly how rich can I expect to be made from my investment?
I see.
For if I am to be made very rich, I am afeard that news of my fabulous wealth may cause some jealousy among the clergy. News travels fast around the diocese, and I think it wise to get ahead of it if I can.
Then let us consult the stars. What will become of Thomas Blagg's investment in Sir Walter Raleigh's quest to find El Dorado?
Okay, let's find out. Will my investment in Sir Walter Raleigh's expedition to discover El Dorado pay off? Black's finances will bring him unhappiness. The expedition will encounter foreigners who are stubborn, confident, and led by instinct. Black's business partners will be met with violence. I mean, that might be true. There's cause for pessimism and a surprising reversal to save the lives of children. Interesting. Black will be able to leave his children a legacy of fine things. God rewards exploration. Now I have no idea about the story of the exploration of South America, but I can only feel like it will be met with violence.
I have ill tidings for you, Dean Blagg. Raleigh and his men have been set upon by a tribe of angry New World natives.
Angry natives? But surely the natives would greet us with much rejoicing.
For we
Do
have
not
God
bring
on
with
our
us the
side.
gift of civilization? Would they not crave freedom from their tyrannical chieftains and cruel pagan gods?
Well, it would seem these particular natives cannot be reasoned with, as they are led by instinct alone, and they will fight to the last man, as it is not in their nature to surrender with honor, as Christian men would.
Truly? But,
Alas, I am afeard that Raleigh shall be forced to abandon his search for El Dorado, and your investment will come to naught.
I must own, sir, that I cannot share your uncharitable view of these savages. They may be heathens, but are they not still God's children?
No.
I will now take my leave, that you may engage in quiet reflection upon the spiritual dimensions of this question.
Thank you. But you saying like, oh, shouldn't they be happy to get rid of their pagan god? It's their god. If they believe in that god, how happy would you be if somebody came along and told you, it's like, oh, your god is wrong and I will bring you the right god? You wouldn't be happy because you believe in your god. So I don't see that happening, but I'm happy about your confidence, I want to say. The Quern did wish to know the fate of his investment in an expedition to El Dorado, the fabled city of gold. I did warn the Quern that Raleigh's search for El Dorado would be aborted due to local resistance. Methinks the Quern took my advice a little ill, so I need to remember what they always want to hear, some confirmation that what they're doing is the right thing, and whatever they're doing, it will work out well. Because right now I told the other lady that Mr. S will steal her work and will be famous, or that not her, and this, so yeah, they just want to hear like, yeah, it's okay, you go on about your way and everything will work out. So I need to be an optimistic fortune teller apparently, which I can be, and also with my lover, that's working well. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back more. Why can I not say the sentence? Didn't I do that last time? I will be back soon with more.